Welcome to the 529 podcast, where we dive into the exciting world of startups and side hustles and chat with fascinating entrepreneurs about their journeys and insights. I'm your host, Nathan Hantla, and today we have David Hammons, who has been running an e-commerce store for 7 years. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
I just recently graduated A&M, aerospace engineering, and I guess lately just been running an Amazon seller business. Been doing that for 7 years now.
All right, very cool. So you run an e-commerce store on Amazon, and you're starting your own website now, right?
Yes, correct. I mean, the website is kind of a fallback / like safety net in case, the Amazon account gets damaged, because that is something that happens frequently. Sometimes Amazon will just like ban accounts for good reason too. Like if you're violating a lot of rules, then they'll take you down. But while building this website, I'm also learning that to kind of be successful with your own website, at least with the marketing strategy that we're doing, you kind of have to have a catalog of like 1,000 different products to actually like kind of retain people. So that's going good. But yeah, honestly, probably mainly focusing on the Amazon side of things right now.
Okay. All righty. Yeah, because I noticed with your store, which makes it vastly different than any other e-commerce store I've seen anyone ever do, is you have a very diverse set of products. Usually people who are trying to start or like sell products on Amazon or their own e-commerce stores, they're usually going after random things they find on Alibaba, like a sleep mask or like a shaker maker or something. I don't know, random products. But you have a very diverse set of products, not a very specific niche. You find that more successful than usually a specific concentration of products, or?
Yeah, so that's the problem with starting your own, with like not starting the website, but like getting people to go to a website with a diverse group of products, is that it doesn't seem as trustworthy. Like that's some issues we're having with Google right now, is that like we can't just list all, I don't even know how many, like 40 of our different products on there, because they don't like these new websites that have a bunch of like random products on there, because it doesn't seem as trustworthy for the customers. But yeah, the reason we have just such a diverse group of products is because like whenever our system for finding like opportunity, like new product opportunity, it's really solely based off of like the demand for that product. Like who's all currently selling it, like what's the competition looking like, and if we will be able to be like the cheapest like seller of that product. So that's why we had like such a diverse amount of products on there, because like every single one of those things is like something that fit all three of those check boxes.
Right.
And like we don't care like what it is, as long as our strategy stays the same for each and every one of those, we'll be good.
As long as it checks all the boxes.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why like the website, for example, right now it says like a office supply store, because since we're trying to get approved for Google Shopping, Google likes it, if you're to one niche. But like if you have a catalog of 1,000 products, then like you can start explaining to Google, okay, like we're a big store, like
a general store or something.
Yeah,
store. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's pretty hard to get approved for.
Yeah, I bet. But I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. How old were you when you first started? And like, what was the first product you started selling?
I guess I was 16 years old.
16?
Yeah. I was making these like railroad spike knives, and I was trying to sell them. I think I actually sold one of them at a gun store.
You said railroad spikes?
Yeah, like you pretty much take a railroad spike, forge it, heat it up, and turn it into a knife.
That's
yeah.
Cool.
So those, those are pretty fun to make. I was trying to sell those, and then I was like looking at ways to sell stuff. I came across Amazon. Like I didn't even know at the time people sold on Amazon. I thought it was just Amazon selling on Amazon. So then, I didn't actually sell any knives on Amazon though. First thing I started selling on there was just like barbed wire, short pieces of barbed wire, and then kind of like slowly branched off into new products over the next few years. But I was kind of not distracted, but also working on like other little projects basically now I'm still like focused on expanding into like as many new products as we can. Because like for the longest time, I was the only one who was like doing the work of getting new products. But now, I've kind of realized, well, you can, you know, there's certain people with certain skill sets out there who can help you, not help you get new products, but like do the work of talking to suppliers, and like analyzing your data the way you want it to be analyzed, make sure it fits all your check boxes. So yeah, now that that's happening, it's way easier to get new stuff going because you can just pay people to help you expand.
Oh yeah. I mean, I bet kind of starting off, I bet you had a lot of kind of like road bumps and failures. What's some of the biggest lessons you learned from kind of the mistakes you made?
Commit any trademark infringements. That's a way to get Amazon on I mean, for you to be on Amazon's bad side, which is very bad.
How'd you end up overcoming that? Making sure nothing was trademarked.
Well, now basically, whenever we sell stuff, we sell it all under our brand. So basically, like all the products we have on there, like it's our branded products. So we're not selling on anybody else's listings. So I guess 4 years ago, I did have like a whole system set up for finding new products, but it was like brand name headphones, other brand name stuff we could find for cheap. Some people do that and it works, but sometimes the owners of those listings get mad and then report you to Amazon. So I mean, if you get enough of those reports, that's not good. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it works for like people. Like I mean, even today, in that strategy, that's called a retail I don't know how to say that word. Retail arbitrage.
Arbitrage?
Yeah. Like people still do that, but it's a very like risky strategy in case like if you get too many of those violations. Like to do it properly, you have to have permission from the brand owner, like actually buy from their factory. So like if you wanted to sell Tide, yeah, like you have to, buy the detergent from Tide, have an invoice of Tide, and like you can't just buy it at like Walmart. But like sometimes it works.
Yeah. So let's see. You said you started when you were 16. That would have been 6 years ago, so 2017, right? So COVID kind of hit then in your third year, maybe, right?
Yeah, third. Yeah.
Right. Did that impact your store at all, or were sales still got kind of good for that?
Yeah, that was really good actually, because like a lot of since all the shortages and stuff, a lot of like product. Well, not a lot. Like honestly, I just kind of dabbled with the Amazon a little bit during that time. There's a lot of opportunity on there because of all the shortages and stuff. So a lot of product categories that were pretty aggressive, like competition wise, they opened up during COVID. So that's how I got into a few new categories.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword then, good and bad.
Oh yeah, yeah. Then of course everyone's buying stuff online, so that was a good time.
Do you feel you have the hang of it now? Would you call yourself you kind of know all the ins and outs of selling on Amazon and the e-commerce business, or you still got some stuff to learn, or how do you feel about it currently?
I mean, definitely on Amazon, I feel like really comfortable with Amazon, but of course, like with other options of selling on e-commerce, like through Google Shopping or Bing Shopping or your own website, all that stuff. I'm still in the process of learning that to find solid strategies there. But yeah, through Amazon, I feel pretty comfortable through it.
Okay, so back to product wise, where do you get your products from? Here in the U.S., do you go on other sites, look in other countries? Where are you getting them from?
Yeah, we get maybe 10% of our stuff from the U.S., but yeah, mainly it's in Asia. We've only bought stuff from Vietnam and China so far. We would buy from more different countries over there, but the problem is they don't like to ship across borders. So like if you were to buy something in Vietnam, it needs to be shipped from a port in Vietnam because the shipping to ship it up to China and have it shipped through a China port is pretty expensive. So if you're buying, like you have to be buying enough inventory in those countries, like in one particular country, to fill up a container load. So if you're just buying like a few pallets of stuff from Vietnam, that's not going to work. You got to buy full container loads of stuff. But yeah, mainly Asia.
Okay. And whenever you first started, where was your product from? Was it here in the U.S. or Asia?
It was here in the U.S., but of course, to get costs down, stuff is way cheaper over
Gotcha.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So imagine if I wanted to start today, would you recommend me starting on Amazon first? Should I start my own e-commerce site, like maybe on Shopify? What kind of products niche should I go into? Or should I go for more like a general store like you, or do you recommend kind of starting off more of a niche? How do you think you should start off today if you had to restart all day from today, like you had nothing, but just your knowledge? How would you start right now?
See, I would want to try to do like a niche store, but that requires a lot of knowledge about marketing and like pushing people's buttons when they see that product. Like to is like uh, that's like because obviously if you're doing a niche store, your prices are going to be a little bit higher, so you're not going to be competitive on price, but you'll be able to be competitive on quality and the marketing behind it.
Kind of need to show why you're better than everyone else selling in that similar
Yeah,
niche. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
So
I
with
mean,
you, you're more of with the general store you kind of got going on right now on Amazon and stuff. You're more of I kind of sell a little bit of everything, but my little bit of everything is going to be the lowest price.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But like definitely in the future, I want to either maybe bring someone on who's really good at marketing and can explain stuff to me. I mean, I can kind of understand marketing. Like if I'm wanting to buy a watch, for example, watches, that's one of those markets where it's like you got the Rolex and all that other stuff, and like that's solid marketing. Like they're really upcharging on those prices.
Yeah.
But I don't know yet how to do that. So if I had to start fresh with only my knowledge, yeah, I'd probably try to go for same strategy of trying to beat everyone else on price. But of course, I would have to keep it to products I can source in the USA because obviously I wouldn't be able to have the capability to get container loads and stuff.
Right. Because now,
So
because you're using shipping containers down to get all your products. You order everything in bulk. Thousands of dollars
yeah,
worth of products come in
yeah,
at least once a month, right?
uh, not quite that free. I mean, well, it's about to. We kind of have big bursts. We're about to have two containers coming in December, another three coming in January/February. So it's kind of like
Wow.
burst, but yeah, like we're, yeah, like so yeah, like that requires a lot of capital. But yeah, I mean, I would, just have to stick to doing stuff that I can source for cheap and not have to buy in bulk.
And
Um,
are you doing those shipping containers because it's cheaper to do it through there than whatever Amazon offers, or?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Amazon, they're not even, a part of the equation whenever you buy inventory.
Oh, that's right. You're
Basically,
doing it through the sites, the what is it, Alibaba,
yeah. And really, like,
AliExpress.
we don't even actually like buy from Alibaba. What we do is we just use Alibaba to talk to, manufacturers, and then we form relations with because we form relations with the manufacturers that way. Because like in the Asian business culture, they're really big on how do you say like trust and like especially like when you get to like large orders from a single factory, like it just works for everybody if you're like upfront about everything and kind of you know are honest as possible because they like to it makes everyone feel better, right? Because like for those larger orders, what happens is you don't put all the money up front for it. You kind of do most of the time it's like a 30-70% payment. So you put like 30% of the money up front. They start working on the order. By the time the order is ready to ship and like you can inspect it if you want, then you pay the rest of the 70%. So honestly, for both parties, there has to be a lot of trust there because if they start building an order, like they don't have all the money for the order yet. So if you end up backing out for whatever reason, they just lost a lot of money because they
Mhm.
have an order that they can't sell. Then for the same thing with you, you really got to trust them that they did a good job, send the rest of the money. So yeah, you form relationships with the factories at like that scale, but yeah, like for shipping containers, you can stuff a bunch of different products in there. So like you can have, you know, 30 different because obviously like when you're just starting a new product category, like a new product, you're not going to be buying, thousands of units of it at a time. You're just going to buy, enough to see if it works out all right. So you can, with those containers, you can put all sorts of stuff in there and completely stuff it up, and then yeah, it's way cheaper than shipping individual pallets.
Okay. Yeah. Because you're buying in bulk, buying more. Usually the company's going to give you a lower price per product or whatever, right?
Yeah, and that's part of it. But the main thing is that the shipping is cheaper. So, like for example, if you were to just buy a pallet of stuff and have it shipped like on a boat, that probably will run you around like $1,000, maybe even 2,000. Because the problem is you have to send the truck to pick up the pallet from the factory. They load it onto a container with a bunch of other people's pallets, so it's not, the container isn't stuffed very well. Then once it gets to port, there's just a single truck dedicated to dropping off your pallet to your destination. So that, like, each one of those truck rides is around, $500 or so, and then you're paying for container space. So that, like, you're looking at probably around $1,500 for a single pallet. But for a full 40-foot container that can fit around 40 pallets, it only costs $7,000. Because like it's way cheaper to just ship a container. So that comes down to a cost of what, 7,000. 7,000 is like the current price.
Okay.
Yes, 7,000 divided by 40 pallets. So that brings your cost per pallet down to like $170 instead of $1,500 per pallet. But
Okay.
But of course, like if your stuff is really small, like if you find a product that's like it's in a little tiny bag, then you can just get it air freighted over here, and like your shipping cost is not going to be that big of a cost of your product anyway. So that could always be an option too. Like, and actually, there's products right now we're doing where we don't even need to do them in containers. We can just air freight them. So that's another way people could start.
So some products are better to be shipped over air than through boat, just based on weight and size.
I mean, you could. It's always cheaper to do it through the boat, but like if you're not able to buy full container loads of stuff, you could just get it shipped by air for $7 a kilogram.
Okay.
Yeah. So like there's not the huge barrier to entry, I guess.
So if you had to start off now, would you want to save up a couple grand to buy a shipping container first before you kind of start it up, or do you think you could do it without it still successful?
If I was starting, I would not do shipping containers. I'd probably do my same strategy of trying to be the cheapest price product, and then I would only stick to products that I could just either air freight and that wouldn't affect my profit that much, or profits I could source. I mean, products I could source locally here.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean you just be slightly limited on your product, so you have to do a lot more analysis work. But yeah.
Okay, so did you have any kind of startup cost whenever you started? I know you have an agent now. Is that kind of part of whenever you started, or was that later on?
Like, I don't have to. I only pay them for shipping stuff. So like they're not. How do you say? They're not like an employee. I guess they're like a company we work with. But eventually, I want to get all the shipping in house because it is a major data leak to have freight forwarders know what you're shipping. But yeah, whenever I started, I think I only spent maybe $100 on like some boxes, maybe not even $100, maybe $50. Yeah, because I had some rusted barbed wire. That was the first thing I was selling.
How did you start learning on this stuff? Was it kind of just through your own experience, through trial and error, or did you have someone to go to? YouTube, books, creators, influencers, anything like that?
Yeah, definitely trial through error, and I guess a little bit of intuition. I mean, like my strategy is still like the same as it's been since the beginning. Like if we're able to be the cheapest, and there's not too much competition, and lots of people are looking for it, it'll probably be a good thing to do. Yeah, but definitely there's a lot of trial through error. Like okay, how do we ship stuff better? How do we do that better? I mean, also Reddit. There's lots of sellers on there that talk about stuff. Oh yeah, there's also good business books too. I mean, that's what I'm reading now to try and understand financing. You can get loans and stuff. But yeah, mainly I guess just learning from other people and your own experiences.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, So get into it more now, I guess. What are your overall recurring costs, your entry costs? You have to buy the products before you sell them, right? So,
Yeah.
I guess that kind of counts. But besides that, what are some other costs you've had to incur?
Uh, I mean, labor. But that the labor cost uh, that comes pretty close to when the product's about to be sold. So you got to pay people to ship out the product. Um, I guess another cost right now is the labor cost for finding new products, talking to suppliers. That's not too bad. Also, I've been building a lot of, I guess, paying someone to build a lot of new storage sheds for more products. I don't own the land, but yeah, I've been paying for all those materials and the labor to do that.
What would you say is the
Uh,
cost? It's going to be the total cost, and how long is it going to take to build that warehouse?
okay, so for the warehouse stuff, their hourly rate, he's a contractor, so I think he lets me know the upfront cost beforehand, but I think it comes out to around $20 to $25 per hour for his labor. So basically, for those sheds, the labor for that, I have a little calculator here. Okay, so these new ones we just did, we just got those finished up. It was 1,700 square feet of storage, like
Okay.
1,700 square feet a footprint, but you can double stack pallets in there, but that's
Yeah.
so yeah, so 1,700 feet. His labor was $3,000 for that,
Okay.
and then materials for that was around another 3,000. So I think it's around like 6,000 total for 1,700 feet of storage.
Okay. Okay. But this is gonna definitely help increase your returns with the you're starting to sell a lot more products now, right? But having this much more space is definitely gonna be worth you said $6,000, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because this comes out to okay. So basically, when you're like with my operation, right? Like I need somewhere to store the stuff, right? Because you have to buy 4 months of inventory or so just to in case sales increase, you want to have some inventory.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got to buy a little bit in bulk. So basically, your options are either you store it or have Amazon store it. But with Amazon storing it, they charge around, on average, like their storage prices increase a little bit during Christmas time and all that stuff. But on average, like if you
Yeah.
average their storage costs out for the whole year, it's around like $1.40 per cubic foot per month. So that's a lot. But with these
Yeah.
sheds, for every square foot, like a floor pan, we're able to fit around 6 cubic feet above that square foot. So, our square foot costs $3.50, right? So
Mhm.
$3.50 divided by 6 cubic feet above that square foot. We're at 58 cents, like of the lifetime cost, right? So 58 cents
Yeah. So
per
you're
cubic
cutting your
foot.
costs in fractions,
Yeah,
right?
like
Especially over
it makes
time.
it makes itself up in less than a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very
So
nice.
yeah. This is and of
And
course like
you're
there's no concrete.
oh sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, and of course in these wooden structure buildings, there's no concrete on the base. We're just using a nice clay base because there's no reason to have concrete if you're not going to be like moving a bunch of stuff around all the time.
Hmm.
Yeah, it works out great. Yeah, so you earn back your cost in less than a month. I mean, you
And
do have to store some stuff at Amazon, but you want that to be as tiny as possible.
and
Yeah,
this
so that's
this warehouses you have built, they're built here in Texas, right?
yes. Yeah, we have another 2,800 square feet that's probably going to be built around January. So
Okay.
yeah, that'll
Also in
help out some
Texas?
more. Yeah.
But you were telling me you're planning to also expand to the east and west coast. Why was that?
So let's say, you have your own personal website, not personal, but you're selling a lot of stuff through like your own website, right? So you don't have a fulfillment network like Amazon does. Like for right now, where Texas is, you can ship to 80% of the population in the USA in around 4 days. But if you have a shipping location in Texas and around South Carolina, you can ship to 80% of the population in the US in around 2 days now. and your shipping costs will be a little bit cheaper. So if you were selling a bunch of stuff through your own website and you wanted to have more incentive for people to buy stuff from you, you could have 2-day shipping for 80% of the population and be at a slightly cheaper shipping cost than just having one warehouse. So it's just because the products are closer to the customers already. Because around 80% of the population in the U.S. lives east of El Paso, Texas. Like, so if you drew a line from West Texas to whatever state, straight up to whatever state is, I guess that'd be like what, Minnesota or something. 80% of the population of the U.S. lives east of that line. So if you have 2 warehouses spread out over there, you'll be able to have 2-day shipping to 80% of people.
And so when do you plan on putting a warehouse over there then?
I mean, it really depends on if we're cranking out a lot of sales through our own website or if we're mainly going to be focused on Amazon growth. Because there's no reason to do it if you're just going to be selling on Amazon. Okay, basically, if we keep growing on Amazon so much that I can't build any more warehouses where the current location is, then I'm definitely not going to have 2 locations in Texas. I'll have, 1 location in Texas and another one over there on the East Coast. If we keep growing so much where I need another physical location, and then definitely building one over there, not here, just because that'll be good for the future. In case, But to start up another location, you gotta probably have at least 3 employees over there in case people get sick or whatever.
Right.
Forklifts, all that. So it's kind of that's you gotta probably have 150 grand ready to do that. But right now we have plenty more space to grow at our current location, so we'll keep doing that.
Okay, cool. So you said these warehouses are going to cut and probably maybe have cut already your cost into fractions. Do you feel you should have done this sooner, or what made you say okay, now is the time to build warehouses?
Honestly, the storage cost isn't. I guess it is pretty. I mean, for some products it's big, some products it's not. The main reason we started doing it now was because we ran out of space, and the only other option would have been to start sending more stuff to Amazon, which would have been expensive. So I guess we're growing, so just needed to do that.
What would you say your yearly ROA is, or your ROI? Let's talk some numbers here. Is this still an attractive business to be in at this time?
Numbers to look at for ROI would be the upfront inventory cost, right? So with our current strategies, our typical turnover time from the time that we have to have the money to buy stuff to the time we end up selling all that stuff is around 6 months, because it takes around 30 days for the factory to make the stuff. It takes around 45 days for the stuff to get shipped here. So that's 2 months and a half. Then the bare minimum you want to have on hand is around 3.5 months of inventory. So there's your other 3.5 months. So our turnover time for if we have a lump sum of cash is around 60 days. I mean, no, 6 months. My bad. And our average rate of return on that cash is around 25 to 30. I'd say, okay, if it was average across everything we do, probably around 28%.
So I mean, you're basically waiting 6 months to have a 30% return on your cash, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, with our current products and all that stuff, that's what the numbers are looking like. So,
okay. Are there some products that do better than others? What are some characteristics of good products?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's hard to know what ones will do good before you start selling them. You really have to get some sales data on there, because obviously your numbers before you even start selling the product. You know how much it's going to cost, all that stuff, but you don't really know how well it's going to sell. So what we're going to start doing is, instead of pursuing all opportunities that sells, we're going to start limiting to only the ones that have higher rate of returns, 40%, 50%, because there are there's products we have that do, like 70%, very rare, but it would definitely be worth it to only pursue those higher percent ones. But in order to do that, you have to, you have to be cranking out like new product opportunities a lot. We would probably have to, like, of all the products that we're currently doing right now, probably only like 30% of those have, really high rates of returns, like 45% and up. So we'd have to not pursue a lot of opportunities. So we'd have to crank out our operation for finding new products. We have to, have that be way bigger because we're going to be like, cutting a bunch of stuff. But yeah, that is the goal, to start pursuing stuff that's higher rate of return, and also to start, looking at financing options, risk-free stuff, basically get, free money to put up front. So yeah,
very nice. So what's a good category of products then? Some that are maybe hot right now, or some that could be good in the future. Is there a certain category you think that is nice, or
I mean,
maybe
it's not necessarily a category. It's just kind of a product by product basis. When you run the numbers on certain stuff, it's like, oh wow, this looks really good, but you don't know how well it's going to sell quite yet. So then you just got to get a little bit of it to get some sales data on it.
But you have a really interesting way of finding products.
Yeah, I have this program that kind of looks through Amazon to check some of the boxes, but then there's also a lot of manual labor from like actual people that goes into finding the products as well. Yeah, financing, that's something big that we need to, that I'm currently looking at, because let's say you're stuck at the 30% return for 6 months, so 1.3 raised to the power of 2. You'll be able to make a 70% return over the year. But if you want to grow faster, you need more money up front to do that stuff. So yeah,
I mean, you reinvest a good amount of your earnings, right?
Oh yeah, pretty much everything.
Okay, kind of pay yourself whatever you need to survive that month, I guess. Or
yeah. I don't really take out like anything from the business, except for like some safety stuff, like retirement and whatnot, in case everything goes bye. But it's much more better to keep stuff in the business. But even if you get to a 50% return, you're only looking at 125% growth for a year. So yeah, you need to get a lot of risk-free money on hand, pretty much. But that's what I'm looking at now, because there's a lot of these like fintech startups that specialize in funding e-commerce sellers, and like since they're doing so many of them, they don't have to have those loans secured. They don't need personal guarantees from you. They're literally just looking at your like sales history and all that stuff, and that's how they're determining, okay, this seems like a safe bet. And once you form a relationship with one of those providers, they can start giving you some serious cash.
Because if someone wanted to start this, they want to start now, just to kind of build the good reputation and such. That's really what matters, right? You're talking about how you really need to build trust with suppliers, and now I'm hearing that you want to expand even more. You want to get into financing. Now you also need to build trust with the banks and people like that.
Yeah, trust is everything. You have to have a good reputation for sure. And it takes a while to build up trust. But I mean, if you wanted to jumpstart it right now, you could probably buy a business that has some trust built up, and then expand on opportunities that way. But yeah, if you have to start from nothing, trust is that's a big thing for sure.
All right, and do you mind? Can I dive back into the numbers and ask you, what was the profit and your highest return for your profit and revenue?
I guess that's kind of now revenue. Those are usually numbers, sales. Last year we had 660,000 sales. Wow. This year probably going to be close to 1 million. We might not get there, but
that's crazy. Wait, when did you hit the 6-figure mark? And did it like blow your mind, or like change your life or anything, or you're just like, all right, on to 7 figures, or what?
I mean, I guess not really, since that's not profit. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. I think probably after 3 years of doing it, probably when we had the first, 6-figure sales. So yeah, probably 2019 or something. But then yeah, as far as profit, we run at around a 10%. We run at a 10% profit margin on everything we do. So last year around like 660,000 total profit, and then this year probably going to be around close to 100,000.
Okay. Nice, very nice. So if I guess just to kind of get all to a close, yes or no, if someone came up to you and told you, hey, I want to start an e-commerce store, would now be a good time?
I mean, yeah, just gotta trial and error, see what works, see what doesn't. I guess, okay, obviously, like if someone's starting a business, their number one goal is probably like grow as fast as possible, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you have no capital, then you're just gonna have to. It's gonna be a tiny bit of a slow ride because you have to build up trust, build up that type of stuff. But, I mean, if you had no capital and you had a lot of time, I mean, you could like do some serious product research and pull out you can pick the best of the best. You get high rates of return. I mean, you could. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could grow somewhat fast.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And how long did it take you to finally start seeing profit?
Oh, I mean, well, from the very beginning, we never sold. Like, I never sold anything for a loss. I mean, we were always making profit.
Okay. Look at that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. There's some strategies that work that you sell for a loss and try and build up your market share or whatever. But you kind of have to really know. You have to really know what you're doing. But yeah. I mean, yeah. Really, right now, you got to get financing. That's how you grow insanely fast. So that can be risk free. That'd be beautiful.
That's your next step. So you keep expanding. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Great. Well, we're gonna have to wrap it up. But anything, David, from the great things you mentioned here today, if someone could just take one thing home here to kind of listen to what you said, what would be one thing you would say to someone? Just
I guess. I mean, I don't think it's something I said, but there's definitely going to be lots of issues and errors and hard stuff you got to overcome. A hurdle race where you have to go over hurdles. Imagine if you're running a hurdle race and you can't switch lanes halfway through. So it's kind of like you have to keep pushing through a bunch of hurdles, but if you restart, you have to go all the way back to the beginning and pick a different lane. So, I mean, sometimes, it's worth it just to keep pushing through, do more hurdles that are in the same lane. So that way you get further to the end goal instead of having to restart in a different lane. But yeah, I mean, sometimes, some paths are not, they're not going to be fruitful no matter what. But
absolutely.
I think, I guess for e-commerce, the main thing is you have to, how do you say, have a strategy that is fundamentally sound. But some people are gifted in marketing stuff or what people want, and then they can start charging higher prices for stuff, and that's another beautiful strategy. But that's I don't have that skill. I need to. That's another thing we need to. Yeah, that's another thing I want to eventually get into is how to have a actual brand or branded stuff that people want to buy because of the brand.
David, thank you for coming out. Everyone, this is David Hammons. David, do you have anywhere you want them to reach out to you if you have to have any questions, any socials, email, website?
Yeah, man, I guess you could email at dlhwestern.com. dlhwestern@gmail.com. Guess that's a good one.
All right, dlhwestern@gmail.com. Perfect. Well, thank you for coming in here, David. Really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
If you enjoyed that episode, then get excited because we have more content just like that coming out soon. If you just can't wait, then make sure to check out our YouTube Reels and Instagram story, where we'll be giving away some juicy bits of future episodes. If you're not already, make sure to follow us on all of our socials, including Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram, and tune in every Tuesday for more episodes. Thank you for listening, and enjoy your 5-2 night. Later, folks.